This is the story of a horrific case of child abuse that resulted in murder. It involves a young victim whose life was tragically cut short. The defendant in this case was Travis Ray Thompson, who was 27 years old at the time of the incident. The victim was 2-year-old Jacklyn Schwingel. Her death sent shockwaves through the community and highlighted the devastating consequences of violence against children. The legal outcome saw Thompson sentenced to life in prison for his actions. He was charged with and ultimately found guilty of first-degree murder. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. The incident occurred just days after Jacklyn's mother had ended her relationship with Travis Thompson. This relationship context is a critical element in understanding the events that followed. On the morning of May 2, 2022, Jacklyn was left in Thompson's care. Her mother had left the residence to go to work, trusting Thompson to look after her young daughter. Shortly after leaving, the mother received a distressing phone call from Thompson. He reported that something was seriously wrong with the toddler. Alarmed, the mother immediately returned home. Upon her arrival, she found Jacklyn unresponsive. The scene was one of immediate and profound concern. Jacklyn was described as appearing lifeless. She had a shallow pulse, indicating a critical medical state. A visibly distended abdomen further suggested severe internal issues. The situation demanded immediate and urgent action. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, the mother and Thompson quickly transported Jacklyn to a nearby hospital. They used a vehicle for this initial transport, hoping to get her medical attention as fast as possible. During the journey, Jacklyn's condition deteriorated rapidly. She stopped breathing while en route to the hospital. The mother, facing this terrifying development, instructed Thompson to call 911. An emergency call was placed to summon professional medical assistance. An ambulance was dispatched and met them at a nearby business. Paramedics took over Jacklyn's care and transported her for further, more advanced medical treatment. At the hospital, the medical team quickly suspected internal bleeding. The nature of Jacklyn's symptoms and physical state pointed towards significant internal trauma. Due to the suspicious nature of the injuries, the hospital notified the Marion County Sheriff's Office. They also contacted the Department of Children and Families, as is standard protocol in suspected child abuse cases. Despite the best efforts of the medical professionals, Jacklyn succumbed to her injuries. She passed away a week after the initial incident, a tragic end to a young life. Following the notification, detectives began their investigation. A key part of this process involved interviewing Travis Thompson. Detectives sought to understand what had happened while Jacklyn was in his care. Thompson provided his account of the events that morning. He claimed he was in a different room when he heard a noise. According to his statement, he then went to check on Jacklyn. He claimed he found her unresponsive and not breathing. This was the state the mother discovered her in upon her return. Thompson repeatedly denied knowing how the victim became injured. He maintained he was unaware of the cause of her critical condition. However, a crucial fact remained undisputed throughout the investigation. Travis Thompson was the only person left with the victim during the time the injuries were sustained. This placed the responsibility for her care and the circumstances leading to her injuries squarely on him. The investigation relied heavily on forensic evidence, particularly the findings of the medical examiner's office. Their comprehensive report was dated September 1, 2022. The medical examiner determined the cause of Jacklyn's death. It was ruled as traumatic injuries to her torso. These injuries were severe and ultimately fatal. Specific injuries detailed in the report were horrific. They included a severed spine. There was also extensive internal bleeding in her abdomen. These findings painted a clear picture of extreme physical trauma. The medical examiner's report went further, detailing the mechanism of injury. They concluded the injuries were inflicted by bending Jacklyn backward. This force went beyond her natural range of motion. The report specified that significant gradual force was applied. This force continued until her back broke. The medical examiner's expert conclusion was unequivocal. They determined that Travis Thompson had to be the one to apply this force. The nature and severity of the injuries were inconsistent with any accidental cause and pointed directly to intentional, violent action. The case proceeded to trial. The evidence, including the medical examiner's findings and Thompson's inconsistent statements, was presented to a jury. After hearing all the testimony and reviewing the evidence, the jury began their deliberations. The jury deliberated for nearly 2 hours. Their task was to weigh the evidence and reach a verdict on the charge of first-degree murder. The verdict returned by the jury was guilty. Travis Thompson was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Jacklyn Schwingel. Following the guilty verdict, the court proceeded to sentencing. Thompson was sentenced to life in prison. This sentence reflects the severity of the crime and the jury's finding of intentional, premeditated action leading to the child's death. The case was handled by the 5th Judicial Circuit State Attorney's Office. State Attorney Bill Gladson commented on the case following the sentencing. He expressed profound outrage regarding the crime. State Attorney Gladson issued a strong statement regarding Thompson. He called him a monster who stole an innocent child's life. He further stated his view on the sentence. State Attorney Gladson felt that life in prison was too good for this kind of evil. His words underscored the community's and the prosecution's revulsion at the crime committed. The case of Jacklyn Schwingel underscores the devastating consequences of domestic violence and child abuse. It serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerabilities of young children. The tragic loss of Jacklyn left a community in mourning. Her death impacted not only her family, but also those who followed the case. This case highlights the critical importance of protecting vulnerable children. It emphasizes the need for vigilance and intervention when children are at risk. The outcome, while bringing legal closure, cannot erase the pain caused by this senseless act of violence. It stands as a somber example of the ultimate failure to protect a child.